And the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project SERAP has asked the federal government and the National Broadcasting Commission to withdraw within 24 hours the directive banning journalists and broadcast stations from reporting details of terrorist attacks and victims across the country. Recall that NBC had in a letter dated 7th of July 2021, which was widely circulated online, issued a directive asking journalists, television and radio stations in Nigeria to stop glamorizing and giving too many details on the nefarious activities of terrorists and kidnappers during their daily newspapers review.
Defense and security expert Dr. Kabiru Adamu joins us now live via Cisco WebEx. Hello, Kabiru. Thanks for joining us on Newsnight. Let's start first with the rampage by the rampaging of Zamfara Shinkafi local government by a bandit leader and the rest. And it looks as if these bandits are really known within their communities.
Yes, Kristen. Some of these bandits leaders are known, and incidentally, in the case of that of Zamfara, remember there was an amnesty program by the state government, so that made them come out, and they've engaged with the government. People resident in Zamfara know them, and so they are not ghosts. A majority of them are not necessarily foreigners. They are locals, and the people know them. They know their antecedents. They know their grievances, and one would expect that the security agencies also have that knowledge. They are members. They are fighters. Unfortunately, it's a bit vague. We're not that clear if all of them are Nigerians or some of them would include foreigners. But again, I want to emphasize that the leadership, at least. A majority of their leadership have been identified, and they are Nigerians.
Well, thank you for that. If we move our attention slightly different to this whole conversation, around the NBC, and if you like, the order to journalists and of course media houses to stop giving details in terms of, when we're reporting these activities of terrorists and bandits. I'm wondering, what do you think against, that backdrop of what the UN declaration has said in terms of how to report? Journalists and of course broadcasters find themselves in this dilemma. You want to, of course, let the people whom you are loyal to, who you're committed to, know what is going on. On the other hand, the government is saying, do not glamorize, for lack of a better word, their activities. Where do we put a balance? Like they said, virtue stands in the middle. Where is it in this case?
Amakata, thank you. Number one, freedom of speech. It's an instrumental tenet of every good democracy. Now, if we've agreed, and that is what we're aiming at, an advancement in our democracy, then the freedom of speech must be something that we will advance. However, as someone who has about 27 years experience in security, I know how important it is to protect and ensure that national security is advanced. Now, sometimes if I hear the discourse, it appears as if the two are not mutually exclusive. And unfortunately, I think this is where especially some of the departments in government would need to realize that the two can go together. In other words, you can achieve a situation where the media is conscious of its responsibility to advance national security, and at the same time is conscious of its paramount responsibility as an important tenet of our democracy. Now, I'm not sure what that circular was meant to achieve. I personally feel it's unfortunate that circular came out. Perhaps the objective was to ensure some form of sanity. But I also believe that the Nigerian media has done quite well. Today, if you go to the person selling akara by the roadside or some other foodstuff by the roadside, you'll be shocked at the types of confidential information or secret documents that will be coming out. And I know the media has exercised restraint in terms of publishing some of these things that could be embarrassing. So frankly, I want to repeat, I do not think the two are mutually exclusive. Both are important. I would rather advocate some form of internal check mechanism within the media space by themselves and not necessarily by the regulatory agency. The regulatory agency can provide some parameters, but then that check, if at all, which frankly the Nigerian media space has been exercising, especially the formal media, the conventional media. The social media is another entire thing altogether. But I know the conventional media is exercising enormous restraint in terms of some of the things that it can, but it's not publishing.
Thanks so very much, Kabiru, there for your submission. But again, I want us to interrogate this further, because I think quite a number of Nigerians understand when they say something is national security. What is national security in what MBC reeled out? Or puts in a different form, what is wrong with naming terrorists and bandits, calling them by their names? Is there anything wrong security-wise?
As far as I'm concerned, no. Let's remember that the objective of our national security focus is to do a paradigm shift. In other words, ensure that citizens get embedded into the national security architecture. Now, what better way to ensure that citizens get embedded when they can help you in identifying the suspects, the persons that you want to have information about? The media can play that game, free. Just today, I picked some papers, and I saw they've identified some of these bandits. The ones that our discussion started with. They've been able to identify that. Now, for people who perhaps before now didn't know that these bandits had been identified, they will read that paper, they will see their faces, and those are potential persons that can supply intelligence that would aid national security. Again, I want to emphasize that the two are not mutually exclusive. It is rather the objective and the focus for which that type of publication is being done. If the intention is to create awareness among citizens and to provide the necessary information that citizens need, then fine. If, however, the intention is to engage in the types of negative mobilization that we've seen of recent, where ethnic profiling, where generalizations of the type that should never be seen in a nation as diverse as Nigeria is the intention, that yes, the regulatory agency can support the media space itself in some form of self-regulation, but not with the type of release I saw. I went through it and I saw what's like glamorization of bandits. And I asked myself, what does it mean to glamorize a bandit? Are you suggesting, for instance, by that circular, that a bandit is being seen like an emperor, which is the reality, as it were? They are ruling the ungoverned space where they belong. Anyone in Zamfara knows that. So if the media reports on that, is he reporting something that is wrong? No. Rather, I think it's the responsibility of the security agencies to address that factor. And if the media fails to report the actions of the security agency and reports more that of the banditry, then there is an issue there. But I do not think by reporting the reality, you are glamorizing an action. Again, the two are not mutually exclusive.
Thanks so very much, Kabiru Adamu, there, for dissecting this issue about glamorization of bandits and terrorists from the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission. Kabiru Adamu is a security expert.